Fantastic. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's broadcast. We just started, so we're going to wait another minute or two to allow more people to join. We will begin shortly. All right. Looks like we have some people filtering in.
Okay, I think we're ready to begin. Theo, go ahead and take it away.
All right, fantastic. Thanks for that, John. Hello and welcome everybody to today's presentation. Today we're excited to be talking about the new unified Able and peer experience. It's one platform, two solutions. So we'll start off with a little bit of introductions. Let's go to the next slide here. All right, so my name is Theodore Barth. I am the Able product owner and also one of the IoT engineers here at SmartSites. Been working on this project for a while. I'll kick it over to John to introduce himself as well.
Morning, everyone. John Askin, Senior Vice President with SmartSites, and looking forward to today's discussion with everyone.
Very good. Thanks, John. All right. So we'll start off by just explaining, SmartSites, we have a diverse portfolio of Industry 4.0 applications, all aimed at delivering powerful data insights in a timely and comprehensive manner. And we've been working diligently to integrate the functionality of all these applications into a cohesive ecosystem. And part of today's presentation focuses on recent developments within Able and Peer. Oh, is this just auto going? And we'll start off by highlighting the new developments and functionality in Able. Then we'll segue into discussing how Able and Peer function together in the same environment and where both applications are enhanced in this way. And then we're going to break for a hands-on demo to kind of give you a live view or demonstration of the application. After that, we'll come back to the presentation and then we'll highlight some additional functionality in Able and Peer before wrapping up. If we have any questions during the presentation, feel free to add them into the questions or chat, and we will field those at the end of the presentation. All right, so without further ado, we'll jump in and talk about the new developments within Able. So one of the new developments we have out here in the unified app is the part selection ability. So historically, Able was really good at tracking utilization. Now we can add the additional context of knowing what SKU or parts you're running within a given run. And this helps us identify the performance and track information around that. So we can get clearer insights into line performance and variations across the different parts that you run, the different SKUs. And because we know that this is going to vary from one product to the next, this is going to be powerful information to be used on a run-by-run basis. And then for enterprise clients who are running parts of multiple different sites, you can now use this information and compare performance across various lines. So we'll move on to the next portion. In addition to that, kind of dovetailing into that, we have the job history context or information that is now part of the operator console. So as we have jobs and parts that are being run on lines, we'll be able to take a look at the history of what has been run on that line and get more detail into what's been happening there. And that'll be an additional layer of analysis to improve all of the functionality and improve just better overall data gathering. All right. So moving on to next. Another useful and important feature that we've added into Able is event retagging. So a lot of Able is really good at historically capturing automated events. Signaling coming out of the machines will tell us whether the machine's running or not running. But we also need another portion of that to capture the events that machines don't know about. Important things such as part changes, so changeover and things of that nature, non-production time, maintenance, and meeting. A lot of this information can't be captured automatically, but it's important to understand the overall OEE and the overall performance of your line. So adding this functionality in to Able and the unified stack, it adds even more context to the data that we're gathering and allows us to make more informed decisions around that. So cleaner performance and conversations across shifts and roles. All right, moving on. One of the more interesting and exciting developments that we have, there's a buzz around AI now, and there's no escaping that. So we're very excited about this new feature. It's our AI-assisted DNA daily summary reports, where we're going to take the information that's provided to you on the DNA views and then run it through an analysis algorithm to give you key insights on what's been happening on the daily or in the future on the shift level for a given line. So this will have a little bit of tuning in it. We'll have some assets that will be included and excluded. But the important portion is we're going to get all the information on the DNA view. You don't have to really translate that or understand how to read it. We're going to put it into human readable language and break it down into bite-sized chunks and different sections that will be easy to digest and read. So we'll pull up a little sample here. So kind of digging into this is the current version iteration of what the report will look like. The data on this one is a bit generic. It's kind of sample data for important reasons. We don't want to share customer information on a broadcast like this. But we can see it's broken down into kind of an executive summary level. It'll give you what has been happening over your shift, tell you about what line the DNA data is analyzing, what important pieces of equipment have had the most impact on your running. So here we can say, the line 1 erector was a big thing. Line 1 packer came up as another asset that had a significant impact, as well as the labeler. And it'll go through and tell you about key performance indicators, your bottlenecks for that run. And if we go further into the report, we explore our top downtime reasons impacting overall performance. Again, going through all of that information that we had within the DNA, but breaking it out in the charts and easy to read reporting. There's a little bit more. We got breakout of key observations, starvation events, general faults, and the data around that, how many occurrences, how many minutes. So this will be powerful for daily meetings, figuring out what happened, what went well in the previous day, and then where we can make improvements going forward. And talking about critical asset status. Again, the data that we have for this report is kind of generic, and that was intentional. But it'll give you a breakout for all of the equipment on your line, how available it was, what were the up and down time, and other key pieces of information. They'll talk about the root cause findings. So instead of looking at the chart and trying to figure out, okay, over the past 12 or 24 hours, what's kind of been what's been happening based upon what I'm reading visually, we get a verbal summary of it. And then it even gives us some prioritized action items. If based upon what we've found, it will give you some ideas of where we might want to focus efforts. And this can be useful for maintenance or continuous improvement purposes. Take a little bit of time to kind of dig into that. We have some more details around other key KPIs, mean time to repair, things of that nature. And then, of course, well, not of course, but we have some shift handoff information. Again, identifying where we believe we've had key problems or impacts to the functioning of the line, and what the next shift coming in where they may want to focus efforts. So pretty excited about this new feature, new functionality, and we're eager to get it in the hands of more people and tune it and make it even more functional. All right, so we'll come back. That's kind of in a nutshell where we are with the DNA daily summary reports. Let's move on to the next. All right. So now we've previously, up to this point, we've been talking about additional functionality to Able. But one of the bigger understandings of this release is that Able and Peer are now going to be in the same application. So instead of having two different applications, two different interfaces, it's all kind of in one easy to use interface, one single pane of glass. And the implications of that are that Able customers have the ability to upgrade to Peer or incorporate Peer functionality into Able. And the reverse is true. If you're a Peer only customer, and you want to add additional functionality around like the sort of value that Able can add, you don't really have to download a new stack. You're already primed and set up for that to happen. And we can kind of look in here. There's a redesigned UI user interface. It's a bit more modern, a bit more streamlined, and we feel a little bit easier to use. All right, so highlighting some of the key things in this shared experience. We have a common navigation. Again, they live in the same application, so the look and feel is going to be the same no matter which one you're using or which functionality you're using. You only have one set of credentials. So historically, we had two different sets of credentials. Now you only have one. You log in one time, and you can navigate seamlessly between the two applications, and that'll continue to be the truth going forward. The great part of that is your preferences are shared across the applications. So a user can come in and you can kind of choose which view you want to see. We have new theming options like dark mode, language support. We have multi-language support in here. I think we have German, Chinese. There are a couple, I think Lithuanian. We'll take a look at that in the view. And as we continue to add more languages, that functionality will be there, and it just makes it accessible to more audiences. Additional enhanced cross functionality, as we mentioned, with these two applications living in the same interface, we can initiate peer tickets, so Andon style tickets from an Able app, from an asset. So we have these little telephone icons on there. You can kind of do it from the layout. If we see that a piece of equipment has been down for a long time, or an operator notices, okay, this thing is going to need maintenance, right there from the Able display, you can click the button and call for maintenance, post a ticket, and then the maintenance team can take over from there, and you can track the progress of that work in real time, and then go back and review that history. So for a good example of that, one of our customers is using this functionality for quality sample tracking. When the line stops for quality, they initiate a peer ticket. The quality lab then acknowledges the ticket, completes the lab work, adds any additional notes that they need in there, and then closes out the ticket, and it notifies the asset that it's ready to run. And then operation resumes when the quality ticket is closed. So just one example of where we can use and leverage these two applications together. All right, so at this point, we're going to break for a bit of a hands-on demo with the new app. So here we are. Can everybody see this well, John?
Indeed.
All right, good deal. So what we're looking at right now is the layout view. This is historically an Able-centric sort of viewpoint. We're jumping into this. And again, with the common layout, we can kind of start in the top right. You know, your user preferences and everything are over here. We're logged in as an admin account. We can dig into our filters, select the date range that we want to display when we click into any of these assets. Our preferences, when we load up the application, you have the ability to choose which view you want to be your native or default view. So if you care more about what's going to be the information coming in from the peer, you'll select, you know, one of your peer, like maybe your message center. We can change our theme. So if you don't like the blue on white theme, change it to dark mode. Some people prefer that. More of a preference thing. And when you do this, this will be saved and linked to your account. So every user will have their own selection saved. We have support for English, German, Japanese, and Japanese, I said Chinese before, Lithuanian as language options, and we'll be adding more in the future. There are sound alerts and notifications. These are specific to peer and Andon sort of things. And we'll come into that a little bit more. And then again, the default display that will, you can also select it to be an operator mode. So if you have a terminal on the floor where we're really interested in mainly just what's going on the operator console, it'll come into that and reduce some of the controls so it stays focused on just running the line and then taking a look at the events that need to be retagged or evaluated. All right, so we can kind of see up here in the top pane, we have what's going on with our Andon tickets. You can create a ticket directly from here. Oh, we're still in dark mode. I'm going to put it back. There we go. Some metrics about the average open time, things of that nature. You can still close the hamburger, select which views in the layout you want to do. Everything over here in the top left, these are all peer-centric navigations. We'll get into that a little bit more later on in this live demo. The DNA view looks and feels very similar to the legacy application. We can click into here. The view slightly when our pop-up comes in, it kind of grays out a bit more of the background, but very similar functionality to what our current users are used to. Our replay functionality looks very similar. We can send and save and dig into historical events, and then click into each of these assets and get further information on them. All right. So in our operator view, this is kind of where we talked about the additional changes of you can have part selection if you're switching from your one flavor to the next. That context will now be in there. This is some of the job history of what's been run on this line, for how long it ran, what SKU, and then in here with the manual tagging, you can change the overall line. Events, changeover, excluded time, and you can add more categories into here. These are just what we have for the demo purposes. And then back in the event history, if you don't agree with if you think we need to change these, you can re-tag the events and then modify them to what the operator knows happened. So we'll cancel out of that. And our KPI views, we'll take a look at that. So overall, we got our same KPIs in the grid view, availability. We're projecting those KPIs over the layout view. And here you can navigate through just clicking these tabs at the top or in the left-hand pane. We have the ability to export our events, and you just kind of select which events and assets that you want to work with. And the same is true with the tickets for all the peer. And we have another additional area where you can kind of also get into your preferences. So there are two places to make those changes. And we've had some additional upgrades in the help section. So we've been rebuilding or retooling our help. So if we want to learn more about what's going on in peer, we can take a look at some of the information behind the scenes. We've been building out this documentation. So it's kind of in its separate window. You can take a look here and then also navigate in and out of the application while you're using it. Have them both open at the same time. Same is true for the Able side about how we can get in here. It'll give you more information about what's going on behind the scenes and then how to use it. Another fun thing that we added for customers is the feedback. So if you go into the help and you say, hey, it would be really great if we had the ability to do this. We'd love to hear what you have to say. You click into this portal and then add a new idea. Just tell them, add more, add part selection, which we already have. Tell it which application we're suggesting the addition to, and then just give us a little bit more information. So that'll help guide future developments and future functionality. So we'd love to hear from you. At this point, we're going to click it. We're going to demo some of the pure functionality. So John, you want to kick it over to your end?
Will do. Okay. So everybody should be seeing the application on my screen now. Yep. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you how the two applications kind of work seamlessly together. So Theo started with this view here that gives you the overall view of the plant. You'll notice we have these little phone icons. So for peer tickets, I can initiate a peer ticket from Able, and then that gets passed over into the peer reporting application, or I can initiate something in peer and have it get reflected back in Able. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by showing you how I can be in an Able environment. And if I have two ways for initiating a peer ticket based on how it's configured. So this machine here is configured where if I click on the phone icon, I get these quick click buttons here. So let's just say that I have a material request. So I'm going to click on that button there. And then that basically creates this material request from Able that now gets passed into peer into the message center. And so this ticket here that's, clocking at 00 because we just started it is that material request. So that explains the one concept of how you can initiate a ticket from Able. Another way to do that is if I've configured this button differently, and I'm going to go to this packaging line for that purpose. If I click on that button, now it actually brings up a menu here of different types of tickets that can get created. So if, for example, I have a safety issue, a spill on the floor associated with this packaging line too, I can simply click on that button, brings up my peer form, and then I can fill in information. I can add photos or documents related to that kind of ticket. If I had a maintenance issue and I wanted to create a maintenance ticket, same thing. You can basically, fill out a form here, add a photo if it's appropriate, submit it, and then it gets passed in. So that's one way. Going the other direction is if I start in the peer side of the application, we have what's called the one-click center. And with one click, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just focus in on a certain area of the plant. So I'm going to focus in on the molding area, for example. And so what you'll notice here is I get a set of buttons here that are just related to molding. And so now all I want to do is, let's just say I have a quality issue. So I'm going to go ahead and raise that quality issue. So I'm raising that in peer. And then if I go back to that layout view, you'll notice now that I have two tickets related. One was the material one that we created, and then the newly created one related to molding. The other thing that is new to the platform now is what's called the peer timeline. So I'm going to go into this quality one, for example, and if I were to acknowledge it, you're going to see that that now turns orange. And then let's just say that the work is now in progress. So I can change that state again. Maybe now then the repair is complete. So I'm going to change that state again. And if I go down and click on the pencil here on the peer ticket, you'll notice that I'm building a timeline of every time I'm changing that issue ticket. So when was the request made? When was it acknowledged? When did the work start? When was the work completed? And then ultimately, you can close the ticket out. And when you close the ticket out, you can do a quick close by just saying, I am closing the ticket, or I can fill in some fields here. So including maybe some resolution notes, whereas we had, we had to change the spec. And then it tells me that if I'm missing some information, it forces me to then update this with, the relevant information. So in this case, that's a required field. So I'm going to fill that in. And now the ticket is closed. And if I go back in and look at my peer timeline again, now I've added the close state. So that's a little bit about how peer and able interact with each other. It's all in the same platform now. If you're an able customer, you can upgrade to adding peer functionality for issue management associated with machines that are being monitored, or other issues you'd have in the factory. And then similarly, if you're a peer customer and you were looking to add machine monitoring beyond issue management, then now you've got one platform for doing all that. And with that, I will flip it back to Theo. And Theo, you can then take it from here.
All right, very good. Thanks, John. All right. So we should be back in here. And we're back at this slide with the hands-on demo. So we've finished our demo, and we kind of want to discuss a little bit more about what's going on with the new benefits of the unified approach. So we have shared data elements like our companies, users, assets, and authorized devices. And with this common data model, it means that if we create an area in one platform, it exists in both, and that's the same with the assets, the users, and companies and plans. So no duplication of effort or work, which makes it easier, better. And so what makes that great is behind the scenes with us sharing a common data model. We didn't really demo the configuration side of things, but here's a little sneak peek behind it. If we take a look at an asset, for example, we have all of our assets in this left column, this name, and the various areas in which they exist. And then over in the far right, we can say, okay, is this a peer asset? Is it a peer and able, or an able only? And so we have a common place and interface for making adjustments to both platforms. So yeah, and that just makes it a lot easier to set things up and then to migrate, to have users from one platform upgrade to the other, and then just enhance cross functionality. At this point, we'll highlight a couple of other features that have been added in behind the scenes as well. We have this concept of the fault learning emails. So for Able, fault learning is an important key feature. As assets continue to run, more data is collected and more faults can be learned. We engineered these emails to keep key stakeholders engaged with the impact of fault learning and where new opportunities are available across the various assets. So after they've been set up, we learn more about what faults have come up, and we can include them into the configuration so we can get better data on them. It's just more data, more action. It's just better all around. All right, so we talked earlier about customized theming and preferences. So we're touching on that point again. It's very important to understand that these user preferences are shared across the platform. Another thing that we can't really demo, but we put effort into boosting the performance of the peer end of things. So for larger customers or initiating many tickets per day, we have enhanced the ability and the capacity of peer to handle even more tickets and handle that without bogging down. So it's even better, more scalable than before. John demoed the new ticket timeline, which allows for easily visualizing the events for every peer tickets. We're basically time stamping every step in the process and providing you a compelling visual interface for really going back and evaluating, what happened and when. So additional improvements on the peer end, we have improved filtering and management. A lot of customers ask for more filtration on the field so that they can dig into what machines have required the most work and then get better insights. So in our managed ticket center, we can see that now we can filter on all of the various fields, and these are just the ones that are currently configured. You can add even more within this interface to make it easier, because over time you're going to develop hundreds or thousands of tickets. So being able to get in and evaluate them individually, find out the key information, advanced filtering is going to be very important. All right, so that's kind of where we are. We're moving into the wrap-up portion. Just reiterating what we talked about before. Peer and Able are now in one unified experience. So that means we have the shared data model, shared configuration, and one overall shared experience. So over the course of this next year, existing customers are going to be migrated to the new platform. Stay tuned for that. Able, we have parts and SKU and speed context added in for a better evaluation, more information, and it positions us for future releases where we're going to become a true OEE solution. We have event retagging coming up in place to supplement the auto tagging features, and the AI shift reports, very cool. We're excited about that. As well as in peer, we have improved performance, filtering, and our new ticket timeline, as well as the cross functionality from Able and peer. So at this point, if you have additional questions, you're interested in learning more about either upgrading or what features we have in there, or how it applies to your specific situation, you can reach out to any of us here, myself, John, or in general, the marketing department at SmartSites.